Chair Gary Gensler, and he's really just doubling down yet again on his reluctance perhaps to engage with the crypto community. We know that he's very bearish on the asset class in general. How do you deal with that when you're getting the same sort of response all the time from the SEC?
Look, I'll just start by saying I think it's super frustrating. You see markets like we have here in Singapore, certainly even what we're seeing in Hong Kong, the UK, Dubai, where the governments are partnering with the industry, and you're seeing leadership, they're providing clear rules, and you're seeing growth. And then, frankly, that's why Ripple is hiring there. 80% of our hiring this year will be outside the United States. You know, my thoughts, I haven't watched the testimony from yesterday yet. I've read some of the coverage. And I guess my observation is one of the definitions of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and thinking you're going to get a different outcome. Gary Gensler's a hammer and everything looks like a nail. You know, just saying people need to register does not mean that what the law says is that these are securities. In fact, what we now have seen, at least in the Ripple case, is the judge in our case very clearly, succinctly said XRP is not a security, period.
I want to pick up on that because, yeah, for people that aren't aware, so your native token XRP, the SEC had said that it was going against the securities law. The US court ruled in your favor. The SEC has now indicated that it could end up appealing that decision. So what was your reaction when that news came through?
Well, on one hand, it's frustrating. You know, you have a government that has unlimited resources to keep fighting a fight they've already lost, but there's no recourse. And so, you know, for Ripple, we've obviously spent well over $100 million already defending this case. And we are very optimistic. You know, the judge has already said very clearly XRP is not security. What they have asked permission from the courts to appeal isn't actually whether or not XRP is a security. That is still clear. It's more nuanced about whether or not in certain circumstances, if there's a transaction, there'd be an investment contract. So I don't know what the court will rule about whether or not they're even allowed to appeal right now. But I remain very optimistic because I think as you go up the appellate court system in the United States, you actually get more conservative. And that I think bodes well. And at the end of the day, I said this a long time ago, the facts are on our side and the law is on our side. And we'll continue to prevail in court because of that.
I'm interested when it comes to, because you just mentioned that the amount of hiring that you're doing, 80% of it is going to be outside of the US over the course of this year. When it comes to who is going to be the next crypto...
80% hiring outside of the US. Welcome in, everybody. We're going to get into the midday market report, but I thought this was very good information.
Hub or define themselves as the global crypto hub, do you think that the door is permanently shut on the US being able to do that?
I wouldn't say it's permanently shut. It's definitely it's definitely a tough spot. You know, the US is still the largest economy in the world at 22% of global GDP, and so we will have a presidential election. There will
Okay, so hopefully everybody can see me again. As you guys have noticed, a lot of times when I go on YouTube, it cuts off my stream a lot of times. So I'm not exactly sure why it does this to me constantly now. But can anybody see me now? Now that the stream had to be restarted, I'm not going to let it ruin the mojo. I'm not going to let it, you know, ruin everything. This is about... I don't even know how many times in a row this has done that, but can anybody see me? Am I back on? Can you? All right. So we had a nice little vibe going there. We had 44 people. I'm sure we're going to lose a lot because you didn't know where I went. So let me just continue this. I don't know now who's seen what. I don't know what's going to be released. So we'll just listen to this and then we'll get on with it and start the midday market report. Actually, we were up to about here. Since it says I'm resuming, let's just continue it where we were at, because I got to get into this.
Doing 80% of it is going to be outside of the US over the course of this year. When it comes to who is going to be the next crypto hub or define themselves as the global crypto hub, do you think that the door is permanently shut on the US being able to do that?
I wouldn't say it's permanently shut. It's definitely it's definitely a tough spot. You know, the US is still the largest economy in the world at 22% of global GDP, and so we will have a presidential election. There will be a change, or maybe there'll be a change. I don't know if Biden's definitely running. I don't comment on those things, but I think there'll be some shift as you see new administrations come in. I think eventually Congress will be, frankly, called to act. And I think the fact that the SEC continues to lose in court, there's another decision recently around a grayscale ETF conversion. And look, the judges are using really harsh language about the SEC. In the Grayscale case, the judges ruling, there's an appellate court, a unanimous 3-judge panel saying that the SEC was being arbitrary and capricious. These are pretty harsh words for a government agency.
So in terms of your battle with the SEC, is this something that you think you would like to see reaching the Supreme Court, for instance?
Look, I would like closure, and I'd like to not have it, ongoing. I'm very optimistic. If the SEC wants to push this to Supreme Court, that'll be even a more final verdict that what Gary Gensler believes is not what the law says.
When it comes down to your profitability, because you're facing issues with regulators in the US, we've seen really thin trading volumes, very low liquidity in the space. How does that affect your profitability as a business?
Look, there's no question when crypto is going through its boom cycles that's a better thing for the whole industry. But Ripple I've been in the company 8.5 years, and every time we've gone through what are often called crypto winters, Ripple has grown. We're in a very strong position with a very strong balance sheet. As you mentioned earlier, we closed one acquisition earlier in the year. We have another pending acquisition right now. We're continuing to play offense in a whole bunch of different ways, and we're growing the business. We're growing our customers. We're growing our product suite. We believe that our customers are coming to us really seeking for us to be the infrastructure provider around blockchain and crypto technologies. And we started with payments, now we're in custody. We'll continue to expand beyond that.
When it comes to that acquisition that's pending, that's Fortress Trust,
yes.
And it's a crypto custodian. Overnight, we understood that the CEO of Fortress Trust said that hackers had taken some money. I understand that Ripple has made those customers whole. But do you think that, firstly, all of the issues around the space have been ironed out, or they're being ironed out in terms of the vulnerability for security, and has enough trust really been regained by users of these products to spark some sort of movement back into the space in a meaningful way?
Yeah, I think it's an important thing to talk about. This particular compromise was about an end user compromise, a tool that certain customers were using to access their crypto got compromised. And frankly, that was through, as I understand it, kind of a spear phishing attack, which frankly, it affects crypto, it affects traditional banking, it affects securities. It's super frustrating when those things happen, and I think the whole industry needs to continue. I mean, the whole industry, not just crypto, I mean the financial services industry, because if the end user's accounts and credentials are compromised, there's always going to be risk, whether it's crypto or something else. But look, to your macro point in this, Ripple felt it was important to build trust with Fortress Trust, and we made those customers whole. That business has really done well.
Okay, so good mid-afternoon, 2:36 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Thursday, September 28, 2023. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. So I really want to thank everybody for tuning into the Midday Market Report. I know YouTube had, ended the stream for some reason, but I was able to restart it, I think, from where it was at. So we're fighting through YouTube. But I'm blessed to be here. I'm blessed that we have an audience. We've got 38 people, 37 likes watching the Midday Market Report. I wanted to come on before I had to go pick up the 10-year-old from school, Scarlett. So Franco Messi, True, The Focus, Halo, Joe Dirt, Mark, Miss Vicky Love, welcome in. Sully, Crypto Solo Scrooge, welcome in. Make sure you watch him if you're interested in Solo, Corium, or even anything with the XRP Ledger, I suppose. 1970 Legend, good afternoon. Omar, welcome in. Tanya, welcome in, love. I'm so glad to see you in here as well. I seen Miss Vicky said she couldn't sleep. It's 4:30 a.m. Friday morning here. Love your market reports. You're teaching us so much. Hope your voice is getting better. It is getting better. It is getting better. I do have another game on Sunday at noon, so we'll see what happens. It's gonna be a tough game at that. Halo, welcome in. Appreciate everybody. So let's get through the Midday Market Report, because I got to leave here in about 17 minutes to pick up the little one. Terry, welcome in. Ripple announcement on the 29th. Has to do with an acquisition. It could be. They could talk about AMM. They could talk about the Ripple IPO. I think there's less than a 1% chance. And I would say 100% chance. But I'll say it's less than a 1% chance that they talk about settlement. Like Miss Vicky, I believe, said, they would not have hired the former assistant district attorney from the Southern District of New York. Bradley Garlinghouse wouldn't have hired that fine gentleman if he was planning on this case being announced, the settlement. He hired him because he's not letting the SEC off the hook or Gary Gensler. Why else would you hire the assistant district attorney, former assistant district attorney from the Southern District of New York, who has this lawsuit against Ripple, the Southern District of New York? So who's going to know it better than anybody? The former assistant district attorney. Tom used one of those blowers to speak. Yeah, that definitely would probably not be a bad idea. Yeah, Terry, that's because everybody says that a lot of social media influencers are talking about how there's going to be a settlement announcement, and it's today finally, and it's not plausible. So let's get through the market report. The DXY is looking the Dow is looking very bearish in comparison to where it's been the past few days. As we talked about yesterday, if you're interested in the midday market reports, I'll be here. I just couldn't be here the last 2 days because of my voice, and I wanted to do the live last night, but we've had a steady 400 or 500 views, and the more I look at it, it's not about how many views, it's about the quality of people, but not just the quality of people, the ones who need that information. And it may not be as popular as just an XRP update, but 400 or 500 views is nothing to, I'm very excited about that so many people are excited about the midday market report. I really am. So right now, we broke this uptrending support at 34,300. We talked about it. That's very bearish. This was more in an ascending structure, and it was narrowing. So this is not good when you break down. It technically could reverse at some point and retest 34,800, but as it is right now, very bearish. And this looks like it created a nice little bear flag right here. So now instead of coming up, you would look at it in the daily to come retest right around this range at the 200-day. So I think that's what we're going to do to see if we're bearish in this range. If it pulls up past this, then you would have a normal retest up in here. So just pay attention to that with the Dow. Moving on, the DXY is having a correction phase today, down about 0.41% or 43.5 cents. Sitting at about 106.215. We're still in this rising channel firmly. It's just when you start making moves like this, you're going to have to see where the support is. Now, we've already filled out this technical target. We talked about 106.80. We had it over here. It just happened to do it a little bit farther across. But it still filled out the technical move from down here at 106.80. So now it's correcting. And we're going to see if there's still strength. 105 spot, roughly 80 is what I'd be looking at. And then if it were to break through in the 4-hourly, you would see if you have a last stand hold at 105 spot 52. If we reverse down there, likelihood is we're reversing. Is this formation done? It's speculative at best. It's speculative at best. At some point, it's going to have to reverse, but we've still got a lot of time until the end of the year. I think they're going to continue to pump this into January of 24 because they know in the writing and in the agreement with the BRICS nations, starting, and remember this, put this on your calendar, starting January 1st, they can legally, or they're allowed to, as part of their agreement, to get rid of their U.S. government bonds and U.S. dollars and notes. So that starts on the 1st. So would I be surprised if they're going to parabolically pump this into oblivion to try to ease going into an election? I mean, that looks like it could be a gigantic boom, boom, boom. Does that not look like it could be a gigantic W? If it is, you could very well pull yourself up into that range, or possibly, we'll see how sadistic the U.S. is now, as they're, remember, simultaneously printing money to expand the money supply, which makes prices more expensive, and then they have the audacity to raise the U.S. dollar like it is. That's a no-no when you're the world reserve currency and the rest of the world suffers. I asked my friends in the UK and on that side of the world, Australia, Russia, England, all those areas, I guess the UK covers that, but all those areas, how's your US dollar looking against the, how's your native currency paired against the US dollar right now? It's in the tank. That's not good for you, and it's not good for us. The US crude oil is down 2.16%. Omar says, guys, I want to share something I found related to the proper party. Yeah, please do. Please do. U.S. oil's at $91.63. We've officially rounded the bottom like we talked about. We hit our first resistance as we knew we would at about 93.73. If this is really rounding the bottom, now what you would expect, you expect little shake arounds. So what the hell is that? That's not what I want. You expect little things like this. So it comes around. Now we come up here. Now it could very well come to the side and then start riding it back up. We need to see the support here. So we're trying to find what kind of real support we have. We bounced beautifully off the 20. I mean, just beautifully. In the weekly, if you look at it, the weekly's going parabolic. It just recrossed. That golden cross is back intact now. So that's a huge, huge shift here. They are saying this is on the proper part 929 website. What this event cost, collapse icon, LT's free. This is a celebration to recognize all the community's grassroots support and encouragement through the years. Ooh. So now I kind of think that it really could just be a party for preview. That's what I've been saying. I don't think there's anything. The best you could hope for is the IPO announcement. Everybody's blowing this out of proportion. Remember the letdown you had when Johnny Deaton came on and said what he said? I think it's going to be that kind of a letdown here, and people are just going to start dumping. I really do. The gold is at down 0.54%, and we're starting to break through this area. And we know the technical target for gold is down here at 1792. We've been very transparent here on the market report. So, very transparent here on the midday market report. So pay attention to that with gold. It looks like it's starting to make that push down to 1792. Now we're just needing a rejection at around 1875 area. So that would validate it. And then we've got silver. It's not quite falling as fast, but it's in the retracement phase. So, oh yeah, it's going to be a big nothing burger. I've been warning about this for weeks. That's why I think the opportune time if you're going to go short is during the Ripple IPO, because we're going to get a pump leading into it. I can almost guarantee it. It may be 4 or 5%, but you're going to be able to get that bottom side push. You would want to go short, because here's my thing. If you own XRP and you're looking to accumulate, take advantage of futures trading to go short if you think it's going to go down, but don't risk getting rid of your stuff. It's the accumulation phase. If you're looking to further your stack, have some side funds, and you can always short the market if you think it's going to go down instead of selling and paying the tax hit. That's what the rich people do. They put out shorts against the market, like Michael Burry. He still owns a bunch of stocks. He's just putting out a short as well. He's covering himself in case it goes down, and then he won't actually lose. He's going to make all that money on the shorts, which evens out the losses and then some, and then he can always buy more. Like, that's what you should do, and that might be the next part of my teachings here. Instead of worrying about selling, if you really think it's going to go down, you put that short in the market. Absolutely not, Albert. I 100% agree with you. All more social media said announcements, not Ripple. Yep, I agree. Thank you for sharing that, Miss Vicky. I agree that, no, I don't agree, but I agree with your philosophy because of what they said. So, and then the gold-silver ratio real quick. Down 0.67%, 82,593. Still a beautiful, fantastic area to buy. It's still within this range. We can't break out, though. If we break out of here, everybody, pay attention. If we get out of this channel that we formed, if it breaks out here, you could be looking at a 96-1. You see this W reversal in the weekly? Just pay attention is all I'm saying. This is converged, and it very well could start bouncing out. If not, you should see a retest down here somewhere around 62 or 70. It's going to be low. Maybe not 70. It might actually just come down to about 74. So pay attention to that, and now we got to move on. B2 gold. I'm running out of time. We've got the rejection we're looking for. Remember what I said. Hold your powder and start buying when it gets closer down here to 220. That's the ideal spot for us to buy. And just hold on for the ride, because when we can get this, the dividend's rising every day. We're trying to work that PE ratio out. It's still over 12. I told you when it was at $3.30 and $3, the PE ratio was too high at 14. I don't advise you to buy in. I would wait until it comes down. I like the PE ratio for B2 gold around 8 when I'm buying. 12 to 14 is way too high in my opinion, and that's price over earnings. So you never want it, in my opinion. They say 26 to 1 is good. I disagree. 8 to 1 is where I like it, but I prefer If I'm buying like a crude oil, 3 to 1 or lower. Total crypto market cap 1.049, and we got to roll here because I got to go pick up the kids with Julie's mom. We're on the outside here still, so the total crypto market cap, as long as we're over 951 billion, you can still hold it. But that's likely our next retracement you're looking at is around 950. So pay attention to that. JW, welcome in. I appreciate you tuning in. And then if we do get a little bounce, you know, you'd go up to the next area. It's not too far though. It's not a great bounce. It could get you up to 1.19, but I don't know if we're ready for that yet. And then Bitcoin dominance is over 50% right now. It's still on the bottom side looking in because it's still bearish, not bullish. It technically is still on the bearish side of town. Just remember this. With Bitcoin dominance, it never was able to stay over. So it's still, in my opinion, until it holds this. Well, it's actually over right now, but where's it at right now? 50 point. Yeah, it's under it again. So it's got to hold this area and then start pushing up. So just make sure it doesn't get rejected here because it's finished the cup and handle. And that could mean Bitcoin is about to make a move back down. This could be a big fake out. You got to break over 27,700 and start pushing up to be bullish. Remember that. Otherwise, you could come retest. So just pay attention here with Bitcoin and then with XRP. At 5055, we've still got what looks like an inverted head and shoulders. We're up to the 200-day resistance here in the 3 hour, but in the daily time frame, we have what looks like a long leg doji here, which could signify that we're about to move up leading into this this party. I'm almost positive we're gonna have a small pump going in. That's why it has this inverted head and shoulders. Let's look to see how we react at 524. So if you're looking to short this market, now is not exactly the time. I would wait to get the rejection here. I would wait to get this movement from the party and see if you can get it to come up here. I would wait to see if either you get a rejection here at 518, 524, but likely to finish this off, this inversion up here at 54 cents. That's a long leg doji here, and it almost speaks to the fact that we might be getting a rally going in the party. I'm XRP Future Millionaire. If you got anything out of this, please make sure to hit that like button. Consider subscribing to the channel. If you appreciate my work and you want to pay it forward, you can always join Tom's Army or look in the video description below, and you can find that information. You can send a YouTube super chat, or you can share this and like it. It would really help. If you're looking to trade on your favorite exchange, look in the video description below as well. You've got MEXC around the world, lowest spot maker fee, and then FEMX in the USA. You don't need a VPN. Both you can futures trade, and FEMX you'll get a real cheap too on the spot maker fee. Have a blessed afternoon. I gotta go pick up the kids. Positivity over negativity. And thank you all so much for making this midday market report special. We had about 55 to 65 people who were doing the majority of it. And it means a lot to me that you're all trying to understand the markets. And just stay tuned because the emotions is what